And then give me a second.
Yeah, once you have the link, I will put it into the Discord again. So that way people can see. Where is the Oh, there it is. All right, we're live.
Amazing. Pin that. And then
All right, I'm going to push it out to all the guys in source betting.
nice. Yeah, he's existing. Awesome. One of these days we'll have to get like a nice like 3, 2, 1 sort of thing. But I think we can hop right into it. Today's been a pretty exciting day. Like just for us, like as a business, we usually we measure like our volume by the amount of shares that are traded on the platform, and shares, $100 of potential return. So if you bet 50 to win 50, that would be one share. If you bet buy one share at $6, you're betting 6 to win 94 if you buy exactly one. So it sort of normalizes for the odds, right? If everyone's betting at things at minus 2,000 and we do $3 million of handle in a day, like it sort of overestimates the amount of so it sort of normalizes for the odds and the price. And we've done about 25,000 shares today, which is a record, which we're excited about. And it's primarily been golf. So we'll get right into it. I'd love to get your thoughts on who you're playing this week, who you like, where you find the best price. If it's Sporttrade, great. If it's other apps, great. We want you as Sporttrade to get the best price. So yeah, we'll get right into it.
Yeah. So, again, like a lot of people on what you want to call EV Twitter, I get a lot of my pricing from, or at least my fair values from Data Golf, which is a great service if people, are looking for something to subscribe to. So I was kind of, just looking at the prices across the market today and found a lot of really great matchups, especially in Sporttrade. I think there's a lot of value in the outrights as well. I didn't have a lot of time to look at it, so we can look at that maybe during the stream. But I found a lot of value in the matchups, especially the tournament long matchups that you've got compared to where they were at. I think I was telling you before, I think I'm on about 6 matchups in Sporttrade. All of them have been pushed to people in source betting in our Discord, and I think there's definitely a lot of limit orders that I snuck in there as well that I'm hoping get picked up. So I'm hoping maybe start the tournament with 7 or 8 matchups going, which is a lot for me. So I'm excited.
Let's hop right into matchups then. I mean, this is a new product for us. We've just sort of got going. Matchups can be historically pretty hard to price, and we try to take requests from people. So if you have you see here like Putnam Shank, I don't know how many people are interested in that. I'm saying that now, you're probably betting on this market already, but then I think we have some of the more popular ones.
I have a bet in that market.
What's that?
I do have a bet in that market.
I love hearing that. And you can see some are empty, like some are coming up to speed. Market makers are putting those 2 ways in there. Then customers, obviously, if you're in New Jersey, you can improve the market. In Colorado, unfortunately, you can't yet do that.
Yes.
Which is sort of ass backwards to me. Not really great for the customer, but we're working on it. So why don't we start with where are the matchups you're playing and why are you playing them?
Sure. So it was funny that you brought that up, because somebody today, when I was posting in source betting, we've got 2 different channels. We've got one where we recommend limit orders, one where we recommend essentially market orders or just take the bet right now kind of plays. And somebody mentioned and said, oh, I don't see anything for limit orders. What are you talking about? This play's dead. And I'm like, no, the play's not dead. Then I realized they were in Colorado. So it came up earlier today. But yeah, we can start with, I guess if you want to start with the Shank Putnam or you want to start with a better one, I can see.
Honestly, the money's just as green on any of these, right?
Yeah, we can start with Morikawa and Spieth if you want to do a little bigger names.
Okay, cool. Let me Morikawa.
I'm sure somebody sees my arm moving. I've got my brand new puppy hanging out.
Amazing. And what's the puppy's name for everybody?
Her name is Brooklyn. We adopted her 3 days ago, or 4 days ago now, I guess. She is 16 weeks old and got her first 2 shots of the vet today. So she's a little little groggy.
Yeah,
Just had a good day.
as one would be if you get shot up a couple of
Right.
times. So
All
this
right.
is this the match we're talking about? This is Spieth. This is Morikawa.
Yes.
Cool.
So the Speed and Morikawa matchup. Let's see where I'm at. So yeah, I got in at minus 130 or 56.
Yep.
So
Oh,
where are we
nice.
at right now? It's at 135.57.
Yep.
So I actually got a good price, I guess, in that, at that 56 number,
Yep.
right? So when I took it at the time, Data Golf has the fair value around 153. So at the time I see 130, I went and hit it, and I do have some orders actually in a Morikawa as well. I got an order in at 53 and an order at 52.5. I don't know.
Let's see if we can
what
see
those
those.
even look like today, or not today, but a few hours later. But
Oh, there they are. There's the bids.
Yeah.
There's your 52.5 and there's your 53. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yep. So I mean, the market has now moved a little bit since I put that in.
Yep.
But still, I mean, again, the number right now at 57 is not a bad number if you're a believer in Data Golf and their ability to accurately predict these markets. I mean, they're at 153. I don't think 135 is a bad number at all. There's some debate on how much we should adjust their numbers, but I probably would still take it at that 135 number. And if not, at the very least, I'm sorry.
How much of this do you like? Did you see the video of Tony Finau hitting a driver on the 7th hole today? Like it was so into the wind. Like they're saying, like,
oh yeah, I heard the weather.
How do you handicap that? Like someone being maybe a lower ball hitter versus a higher ball hitter, spin rates, like the fact that it's windy, or do you sort of just let Data Golf do a lot of that and take more of a top-down approach?
Yes. So I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be a golf expert. I'm a very bad golfer myself. My goal is to try to break 90, and I'll be happy if I break 100 goals to break 90 every time I go out there. So I'm not going to pretend to know about this, and I'm not a huge data guy or a modeler. I rely on the numbers out there and a lot of the steam chasing strategies. So again, top-down strategies, I'm kind of just trusting their numbers, and I think that they've built something way better than I could build, or at least have had the time to build at this point. I mean, one day, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the rest of the market, even, I mean, he's, I think DraftKings has this minus 140 to 120, Bet Online 134, 112. I mean, I think Data Golf is a lot more confident in Morikawa than Spieth, but you're right. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty with the weather this weekend. It becomes a lot harder to handicap when, the weather is a great equalizer for all these guys. Like you said, one gust of wind, all of a sudden,
right,
the guy's day goes haywire. It's almost impossible to handicap for that. I think I just, I trust them and their model. But yeah, I mean, look, every weekend there's something unpredictable. There's something going on that's different in the PGA. So we'll see. I mean, I'm trusting the model, and
right,
hopefully I win. That's kind of the goal every week, and it's been profitable for 2 years now for me. So I've made a lot of money using their model. I'm not shying away from it now.
As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right, exactly.
So okay, so you said Data Golf was minus 153. So that's roughly 60.5%. So they're basically saying that's the true DVIG'd price?
Yes.
Okay. So they're saying that Colin Morikawa has a 60.5% chance of winning, and you got him at 56%?
Yep.
Okay, so then post-commission, the trick for anyone listening out there is just add $0.50 between like 30 and 70. So you got it like 56.5. So the way I like to think about it is like you just bought something at 56.50 that's worth $60.50. So you sort of, the expected value of that is to make $4 divided by your 56.5. So you're making, I mean, that's a pretty large edge. To make on a trade. Cool. Who else you got?
So let me see what else I got. I'm on, if you want to go to the Putnam Schenk one, I thought that one was a pretty decent one.
There's Putnam Schenk at the very top. Yep.
Yeah, so they've got this one fair value around minus 101. I mean, it's essentially a 50, right? So we've got, Schenk at 47. I think I have him at 47 also. So I think the price is still there if people are interested. I've got him at 47 as well. I'm in for a little over one of my units. So I think it's a good price there. Again, I trust him. He's actually on Bet Chris right now. He's minus 117 to Putnam's minus 113. So he's the favorite. But on Sport Trade, we've got it kind of flipped. All right. So it's an interesting opportunity for people who are more confident in Chris. Bet Online has it at a even money, or not even money, but minus 110, minus 110. I mean, fair value plus 100. So everyone's kind of in agreement there, except for your market makers or whoever's in this market. So everyone's taking it. Everyone could go against them and go with the market, or maybe your guys know more than we do. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the fun thing about this is like the variability that you have when like on a system like ours, and profit is very similar. STX is another one in North America. Like you can kind of see like, all right, well, there's $196 available to bet Putnam at minus 127, which is 55.5, but there's 23,000 available at Shanks. So if you were to sort of expose the order book here, you can sort of see, and I'll switch to dollars. You can sort of see perhaps where that market maker two-way is, 44 at 47. Yep. And then you sort of have something smaller, and that tells you, okay, it's not always the case. Market makers can enter small orders, but it's less likely for individual players to enter these really, really large resting orders. Because as you know, those markets can move. It's sort of hard to have a two-way quote out on all these golfers because, someone has a bad range session. Bad weather's coming in Thursday morning. It's not a be-all, end-all rule, but it's a cool piece of a clue as you sort of try to take a top-down approach and say, where are the bigger orders sitting? I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, again, like you said, I saw that. I'm sorry, it's really small on my screen. 23,000. And I assume that's some sort of market maker or one of your bigger players, and that's going to sit there for a bit. So I like the price, and it's easy for me, right? And it's one of these, like you said, when I see a small dollar amount, a small amount of liquidity on one side, I sometimes I don't even take it because it's not enough for me, right? So I like when I see this, and I'm like, all right, here we go. We can play, and not only can I play, I can recommend it to people who tell me, and we can all go, on one side. So again, I like the price here. I'm not going to claim to be an expert in either of these guys, but it'll be something fun to root for during the tournament that I hope to be following pretty closely this weekend.
Yeah, I think that would be it's going to be a really great tournament. Who else do you have? Did you play any other matchups?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm on 6 of them. I think the best one, or at least the one with the highest expected value, was Ryder and McNeely.
Yeah, you know what? People were texting us about this one, Ryder and McNeely.
Yeah, well, you guys had this one. When I say you guys, I shouldn't say you guys, but somebody had this, at even money. Plus 100. I got it at 49.5. And Data Golf has this at a minus 128 fair value. Bet Chris is on this 122 to minus 108. So everyone's got Ryder as the favorite here.
Interesting. And we don't. We have it sort of flipped here. So let me actually scroll down to this exact matchup. You said Ryder and McNeely. Let's see.
Yeah. So he's about, a 56, let's say, a 56% chance to win this matchup, Ryder, according to Data Golf's model. And on here, I was getting him for 49.5. I mean, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. And this one was a big one. I mean, I threw about 3 units on this one.
Yeah,
which
that's super interesting
for me.
That's super interesting. So you're basically buying Ryder at plus 100, and you take the true, Data Golf's trues around minus 125, minus 130.
Yeah, minus 128. That was the number that they have. But yeah,
this is the cool thing about golf matchups, right? Like you would never get this for like an NBA money line. No reputable source would be like the Phillies should act, or the Sixers should actually be minus 130. You can get them at plus 100. Like you'd sort of be like, I don't believe it. But for golf matchups, it's actually possible that is the case.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability, right? There's a lot of opinions on how it works. I mean, I'm even looking just kind of at the board here, and I can see like other books, are disagreeing on who should be the favorite on certain matchups. On this one, you've got Bet Online, with a minus 110 on both sides, so they're kind of similar, but they've got this, as kind of a 50-50 coin flip. And then you've got Bet Chris that has Ryder as the favorite. Not as much as Data Golf has it, but Ryder's the favorite in their matchup. But I mean, again, I can see three different matchups on my screen right now. I think probably because of the weather. It's really going to come down to maybe what time these guys go out for really who's going to win these matchups, right?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of wild. I'm looking at the screen. There's a few of them where Bet Online is on one guy being the favorite, Bet Chris is on another. DraftKings has they're all kind of disagreeing here. I mean, I'm looking at Cantley and Homa, and you've got Bet Chris has Cantley as the favorite, DraftKings has Max, and it's like, why is there such disagreement across all these books? Usually everybody kind of converges together.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's like it's just so much unknown. So many things can happen on practice rounds and caddies texting or out and say, "Oh, my guy's really hitting the ball well or not well," or issue going on at home. Like it's tough. Like you don't really have that in basketball, right?
Yeah,
and it's more of an individual sport too. Like if LeBron's have an issue with something going on in his family, like it's sort of like how much is that going to affect the Lakers money line versus a golfer's having an issue or is making a swing change like that? Forget it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think we froze there.
Can you hear me?
Yep, good.
Oh, awesome. Maybe one more matchup. Is there I think that was like your premier one. Like you had one, it died at 56% odds. You bought it at basically 50% odds. Do you have anything like that good?
The next biggest bet that I've got in is Luke List to Nick Taylor.
Let's see, List and Taylor. I see Taylor and Rogers. There it is, List and Taylor.
I need a second to pull it up for you.
This one's a tighter market, still huge size on both sides. It sort of says probably a market maker, although we've got some individual folks out there that like to put some big resting size out there.
Yeah, so in this one, at the time I got List at 43.5, which he's still 43.5, it looks like. Yep. So, that plus 127 number, and Data Golf has him around plus 105 fair value. So, there's I didn't see him on any other books, or I didn't see this matchup, let's say, on any other books. But, again, I'm still getting it at a way better price. So hit it pretty hard and hoping for the best.
I love that. I'm trying to look through our trade logs here to see where else we had some big matchups. Biggest matchup bet so far was around $18,000 on Ludwig Aberg to beat Justin Thomas. So let's see here. Go back to the golf. Click on matchups.
Aberg, where is he? Yep. And who was the other one?
Ludwig Aberg versus Justin Thomas. There we go. So this customer got Ludwig Aberg at 46, which is plus 115. And it's sort of moved. I mean, like that's the midpoint. We can see this market for Aberg is 45 at 47. So that's the market maker's way of saying, hey, I think you got maybe a little bit of edge here. I'm going to say the price you bought, 46 plus 115, is now the midpoint of my bid and my offer. So it's sort of moved. It's not a huge jump, but sort of when you could do that. And I think it happened on a couple of the trades you just mentioned. Like when the market moves away, it sort of tells you that, okay, you may be on the right side, according to those that are placing the orders in the market.
Yeah, on this one, I mean, I'm looking at what Data Golf has, and they're at around 48. So again, for this one, it's something that I would probably just sit out. It's not really, it's a dollar value. And again, I don't know if I trust Data Golf's numbers perfectly to the point where I'm like, okay, that dollar is really a dollar. I mean, there's a little margin of error there. So
yeah, right.
It's probably a no play for me, but it's interesting that somebody went in and you said how big was the trade?
The trade was about 18,000. So rather large matchup bet.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was my buddy Golden Pants 13.
We got to get him to New Jersey. I don't know if he's out there listening. Likely isn't. Would love to get him up. I know he's a big golf bettor.
Yeah.
Other big matchup bets. So someone took 250 shares. So that was of looks like Nick Taylor to beat Loot List. That's one you just nailed. Is that right? Yeah, the customer took
But no, I had
57.
the other way. I took the list side.
Interesting. And what price did you get?
I believe. I mean, I let me pull it. But I think it was 127, which is like
127.
44. Yeah, 44. Yeah, something like that.
So we had a big trade on someone taking the other side at 57 of Nick Taylor. So that's kind of cool to see some like two-way action because yeah, that's sort of what you want if you're the market maker, right? You sort of want to be in a position where the market's sort of telling you in a feedback-based manner that your price might not be might be horrible. It's probably right on par. And the way to know that is if you're getting players that bet Nick Taylor and the players that bet Luke List, you've sort of found the equilibrium. So that's kind of cool. Those are our the biggest matchups. I know we did some huge trades in the outright market. So I'll go back here. Let's see. Someone took
Warming like crazy.
Let's see. Someone took 10,500 shares of Ben Griffin at essentially 50 cents a share. Is he even listed here? Ben Griffin. Yep. There's Ben Griffin at 195 to 1.
Interesting.
So that's a huge trade. That's let's see. That is 10,000. No, that's $4,700 to win over $1 million on Sport Trade. That would be our first ever $1 million win. And then the other big trade we have is Adam Scott.
Yes, I saw the Scott one you guys posted on Twitter.
So Adam Scott, someone took 9,600 shares of Adam Scott at $1.10. So that's a $10,000 bet to win roughly 941,000. So those are our biggest two golf bets, like by far on the platform. The cool way to think about shares, right? It's okay. 10,000 shares of Adam Scott. What does that mean? It means that for every $1 that share price goes up, that customer is going to have an unrealized profit of $10,000. So if Adam Scott goes from $1.10, which is where the customer bought in, to a $2.10, that customer's up 10,000. To $3.10, they're now up 20,000. To $10.10, they're now up 90,000. Back to $1.10, they're down 90,000. So it's sort of a cool way to think about the amount of shares that you have. That's the amount you're going to gain or lose every time the share price goes up or down by $1. So that's like a huge trade.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I saw when you guys posted, I'm like, whoa. And I immediately went and looked at the price. And again, everybody's got their own models and their own reasons for taking bets. Didn't unfortunately fit mine. But yeah, I mean, you guys easily have the best price in the market. And I know you want to talk about that as well. I mean, pretty much on every outright. I mean, I'm looking, Scott, the best price out there is, 82.21, which is about $1.20. And again, that's on Pinnacle, which no Americans can legally take on the American books. I think I'm seeing the best price is about plus 7,000, which is, what?
Was that? It's probably like $1.
Yeah,
$1.40. Yeah,
$1.40. I mean, you've got a way better price out there.
Right.
Well, you've got 1.2 right now, right?
Yeah. Now it's $1.20 for Adam Scott. Let's see, Scott. $1.20. We have this new offering now where customers can actually, and this actually was a customer who reached out and said, "Hey,
right,
I'm interested in taking 10,000 shares of whomever. What can you guys do?" And then what we'll do is we go to our market makers and say, "Hey, we have a customer. They're interested in increased size for this golfer," and those market makers will size up a two-sided market, and that customer for some period of time can decide to trade or not. And so that's a cool way to sort of, if you're ever using Sport Trade, say, "Oh, I want to bet the Sixers tonight, but there's, $2,600 there. I want to bet 10,000. Reach out to us. I'll put our number below, and we'll see what we can do." We try to actually beat that displayed price that you see on the screen. So we try to, Adam Scott, I think that was an example where customers like, "Yeah, I'll take 10,000. but I need that price to be $1.10, 88 to 1. And we were able to do that. Who do you have more near like the top of the leaderboard? I think one of the things that really surprised me was seeing Scotty Scheffler at 8.5, which is around 10.5 to 1. Like where are you seeing value near the top of the board?
It's actually funny. So earlier, I think your Scotty price was a little worse on the buy side. I don't know what the number was, but I put in a limit order at this 8.5 number, and it actually somebody took the whole thing and moved the market over to that. So I was pretty excited to get Scotty over this. I think it's an American odds plus 1055 ish. I think it says right there, plus 1055. Data Golf's got him at 932. I felt a lot more comfortable there. I think you guys probably had him like around this like 980, maybe somewhere in that range.
Yep.
So he's the only one I'm on. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to look at the outrights before. Fortunately, day job's been very busy today. But I'm going to be looking tonight at some of the outrights to see if there's anything I like in there to push out. Cool. To the guys who are telling me.
I really like that, like the idea that I think you're right. He probably was offered around $9, which is plus 991. And you said, I have the sort of patience to say, I want 8.5. I want 10.5 to 1. And now it's not a guarantee, right? Sometimes your orders go unfilled and you cancel them. But sometimes they do get filled and you're thinking, oh man, that was just a little bit of patience and using a limit order. You were able to get, the difference between 9.9 to 1 and 10.5 to 1 may not seem like a lot, except for when it wins, which case it is a lot. So I think he'll have a good week. I was sort of surprised he was so low in terms of price. I thought he would have been closer to 10%, $10. So that's a good buy. I like that one.
Yeah, and actually, I think I might have mentioned it on the last stream. In golf, I'm what some people would think is a crazy person. I like to bet guys not to win and just sweat it out for 4 days and freak out, betting a large amount of units on individuals to not win the tournament. So I'm sure I will have a handful of those tonight, and people in source betting are going to yell at me and say you're crazy, and some of them will take it. And like I said, a few weeks ago, I think Spieth came in second. It was one of the Hawaiian tournaments, and I had Spieth to not win, and it was very, very scary with how much money I had on the line. But I'm exaggerating it. I obviously don't overbet, but it's it was like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy's coming back.
Yeah, that's right. And he ended up finishing like 2 or 3 shots off, but was definitely there on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a little too close for comfort. So we'll see if I have a few of those today. I mean, I was already eyeing Rory before we hopped on the stream to bet against Rory. And that'll always be scary, when you're betting on a big name like that to not win a tournament.
Right.
But again, like we said, it's an unpredictable weekend. Especially with the weather being crazy, anyone can win. And it's actually been a weird year in the PGA. We're getting some, crazy long shots taking home, victories. So we'll see. But I'll definitely have a few of those plays later. Maybe I'll post 1 or 2 of them to Twitter, see how people react. I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, you're going to celebrate it, minus 1,000 play, and you're damn right I will.
Right.
I'll still make a decent chunk of money on it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is
I'm trying to see some other big golf plays we have. We had roughly 2,000-ish shares of Xander Schauffele at 6.5. That's still available at that price. Sam Burns, about 1,600 shares of Sam Burns at $1.60. Let's see, Sam Burns. No, that looks like a really good trade now. As you can see, that customer could actually sell out at $1.80, as you're seeing there, and make a profit. For 1,600 shares, 1,600 times 0.2, that's not bad in terms of a profit. That's $320.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those tournaments where I sell a lot of these guys. I'm just looking at the fair values, and I'm looking at Sport Trade, and might have a lot on the line, and it'll be fun. But yeah, I think it's one of these where Data Golf really is uncertain. Looking at these numbers, so we'll see. Should be fun. I'll let you know if I actually buy anybody other than Scotty to win it.
Yep. Do you ever go into a golf tournament on Sport Trade and sort of think like, I might not put a full unit on this person, data golf isn't really sending me any positive signals, but I just sort of think that this guy's going to be in contention at some point, and sort of, maybe that's someone like I'm scrolling down here, like a Matt Fitzpatrick, a good example. Like, oh, you know what, I'll buy 10 shares at $2.20, so 22 to win 1,000. But I really plan on holding them. Maybe I'll see if he get to 4 or 5 and sell them come Saturday, Sunday. Do you ever sort of play that buy low, sell high game?
Yeah, so it's actually a good question. I essentially look at it as like a cash out, right? I mean, it is essentially like a cash out on a FanDuel or a Bet365 or ESPN bet. And I'm constantly looking at my bets. So I bet a lot of futures. I think I told you this in the first stream. I bet a lot of futures. So right now, all my futures have actually settled, except for Man City to win the EPL, and I'm actually up a ton on it. And I constantly am checking and looking like, okay, what is the fair value at today? So my goal during this tournament is, to check every single day to see, okay, is this better to trade out of this now? And if not, like let it ride. But I'm going to try to do it on this golf tournament and see if, there are some good results there. And there have been, some opportunities in the past with my futures where I was like, ooh, maybe it's time to trade out. I'm not a big cash out guy, but it's definitely going to be something I pay attention to this tournament, especially knowing that we'll probably do a little recap maybe in a week or so, or even just on Twitter, to see how I did. But it's something I'm going to look at. So I'm going to look tonight again. I haven't looked at all the outrights. Somebody in the comments is saying Byung is pretty good to data golf. I know Byung Han is usually. He's been very good on data golf lately. They really like him with their models, so that would not surprise me.
Let's see here. Yeah, I don't hate that play either. But I like that. I like that way of thinking about approaching the Sport Trade market is like, okay, I got into this play because data golf said that Scheffler should be 10%, and I bought at 8.5%. I got edge. I think what's really cool about the Sport Trade and like the 0 to 100 is once you're in a position to say, okay, let's say Scotty Scheffler's got the lead after the first day, and now you could buy him at 22 and sell him at 20.
Sorry.
And no, it's all good. I love that. It's so great. And maybe that dog's going to be the best handicapper.
Yeah, I know. She's like trying to get out of the chair. I don't know where she thinks she's going, but
that's so great. And as my phone's ringing, so let me try to stop that.
Yes, they've got them valued at $1.88. You guys got them at $1.70. So obviously there's some value there. Thank you, Cosmo. He's got 28% EV. I don't know if that is true. I mean that
would make so Ben is so essentially what you're saying is like data golf may have him at like 2.1%, and you can buy it at 1.7.
Well, I've got it at about 8%. Expected value to data golf. I don't know if the price got maybe worse during the day. It may have been better earlier. But he's I actually have him in his matchup against Matsuyama on Sport Trade. So clearly whoever is making these markets, on him is a little less confident about his weekend than data golf is. So
right. Yeah. And that's cool. You can sort of see that opinion sort of
for sure
matriculate through the matchups, and ultimately when we do round matchups and hopefully things like make this cut, you sort of can sense like, well, if he's undervalued in one market, it kind of would make sense if he's undervalued in the other markets.
For sure. I mean, I'll definitely sprinkle a few bucks on him. I mean, it's not a huge play for me. I probably would typically either hold off or make a small bet, especially on a long shot like this. But for the sake of the weekend and as a learning process, I'll make sure to throw a little on him, and then we can check, every day, see how it's going. And I'm a fan of him, so why not?
I think that's wonderful. And like, again, that idea of like, okay, if I can buy at a lower probability than data golf, it's edge. But then once you get into a golfer, if you can sell at a higher probability than data golf, it's also edge. So taking that Scheffler example, has the lead after round one, you can sell him at 20. If data golf's like, hey, he's worth 18%, which is plus
Right.
350, you can actually now get edge on the way in and the way out, which is
Right.
like the dream situation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know we were going to talk about Picket just very briefly
Yeah.
before we go. Like Picket is an app that allows you to sort of see the best price. And the thing we love about Picket is like we want you to get the best price. Like, and it just so happens like for golf, we have the best price a lot of the time. I don't know how many books they have here. It looks like it's just MGM. So I wouldn't go with this as the pure source of truth yet. Once they have other books up on here, I think it will be. But like so important that like before you just hop into a play on Sport Trade, like, oh wait, I really like, McElroy, let's say. Okay, McElroy's at 10.55. Oh, let me try Pickett. Yeah, Pickett, okay, 10.5 to 1. It's so important to get that best price, and we're saying this as an operator, like we want you to get the best price. I think it'd be really cool if Pickett had like matchups and make miscuts on here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm looking at all of them, right? I mean, I'm browsing, but you probably have the best price on Sport Trade on, compared to all of the legal American books. Let's say I'm not going to mention any other books, but there are some other offshores and whatnot, and then Pinnacle as well. But you probably get the best price in almost every guy out there, which is great for people in New Jersey and Colorado who are looking for an out here.
Yeah. And it gets even more fun in play. Like in play, I think is when the books can ram the juice up even more. And it's really hard when you're not having a two-way market. Like the cool thing that keeps Sport Trade honest and the market makers honest is like, if you're in a mode, and you could even do this in American odds, if I switch to American odds mode, you can sort of see the two-way of the market. So if you look at a market, it's minus 1,600 plus 1,400, you're like, oh, that's a pretty tight market. If it said plus 1,400 minus 9,000, it's almost like by showing you the no side, we're almost sort of keeping the market makers honest. They can't really pull the rug on you because they sort of have to have a tight market or else things just look off.
Of course. I mean, there's people like me who are going to slam the no side. I mean, I love it. So, the two-way is great. I mean, I don't think there's another two-way market out there right now that I know of, other than, Profit Exchange. And I don't know if they have one this week, or at least not yet. But, none of the American books, have a two-way market. It's all one ways.
Right. Hopefully we bring two-way markets to everything. So I'm really curious what you end up taking, like, as the week goes on here. If you have any other plays, like obviously you're in a cool Discord course called Source Betting, if you want to give that a bit of a plug. And obviously if you're seeing I won the money here at the bottom, you can use that code IWTM when you sign up for Sport Trade, and you actually get $500 cash back, because tomorrow we're upping that sign up bonus for the next 2 weeks. I think there's a big sporting event coming in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm not allowed to call it the SB. I think we have to call it the big game, but we're doing that for the golf and for the big game and for college basketball.
Cool. Are you guys going to have any fun props at all in Sport Trade for the big game?
I think our props right now are listed, however, empty. So this could make us look pretty bad on air, but I think the answer is, so we will have a ton. Let's see if I want to. Sorry, mine sort of explodes when I don't see the 0 to 100. I'm like the opposite of most bettors. Like I kind of need to see that spread in the buy and sell. So we'll have okay. Looks like some of these things are getting priced now. Mm-hmm. We'll have anytime touchdown score. We'll have player passing yards, player passing touchdowns. It's cool to see this stuff's quoted now. We'll have player receiving yards, and the cool thing is like we'll have strikes, so every 5 yards for every player. Rushing yards, and then we'll have a list of another, and then we'll have like team to score first drive result. But then we'll have a list of another probably 200 props we're loading in next week, and that will be really fun stuff, like will a ball hit the end, goal post and miss, like rushing attempts.
That's what I was asking for. If you're going to have all that crazy stuff, all that.
I think there's one interesting one that was recommended. Which team will call a timeout first? Thought that was interesting.
It's a popular one. There's a lot of, people have their crazy ones they like to take every year. I've definitely got my own as well. So it's a fun one. I don't know if you guys are allowed. Someone asked about Taylor Swift props. To my point, I don't know if you guys are allowed to have that stuff in New Jersey. I'm not sure. I mean, you tell me if you can, but I know
I
stuff
don't
that's
think we are. Just
yeah, I
because
think
it's
stuff that's
not
not
like
on the field is not allowed, right? I don't even know if the halftime show is allowed in New Jersey. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot that's left to be desired if you're in New Jersey from like a markets perspective. And I'm shocked. Like there's people betting $100,000 at the coin flip. Like why wouldn't you just like? I mean, especially when it's like minus 105. I think there's a guy that literally bet tails at minus 105 at Caesars for 100.
Yeah, I saw that, and that guy was getting clowned a little bit. But somebody made a nice comment. I think it was EV Bets Indiana, and he said, it's like this actually isn't as bad as like 90% of the same game parlays that everyone posts. He's like, this is actually okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny to see somebody take a bet like that on an actual coin flip at a minus 105 number.
Yeah.
Some theories about maybe somebody doing something a little not okay with that
Yeah,
money.
so like the most expensive way to money launder, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that customer also took heads at minus 105. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so and then we'll have things like I think first touchdown score to score 2+ touchdowns. So I think I would say is like Sport Trade will kind of look more like a normal sports book with the Super Bowl. It allows us to give us the time of energy to have something more of a fuller prop menu, and that's something we really want to get to. Like if we were to go to our NBA markets right now, we just have spread money line total, and then obviously every alt line you could ever want. Mm-hmm. The idea is just like for NFL, like we want. I think tomorrow we're adding first quarter, first half markets, but then like the fun stuff like to score a double, player points, player rebounds, player assists, player 3 points made. Those are really fun things, and I think those will be our first props that we're going to do in play as well.
That'll be fun. Those are very popular.
Yeah, and we're going to try to do like that sort of milestone base where you might have. I mean, I can't even name a player on the Charlotte Hornets. Like if you had someone like on the Heat, right? You could have Butler 10+, 20+, 30+, 40+, and instead of having the line fluctuate, you'd have the prices of those set milestones fluctuate. I think that's the way a lot of these sort of bigger books are going, is to sort of, maybe it's because it's easier for same game parlays. I think it's just easier as a bettor to say, do I think Jimmy Butler's going to go for 30+? I think that's an easier question to answer than, do I think Jimmy Butler's going to have over or under 27.5 points? Like, I just think that we kind of like that milestone based approach. So hopefully we're going to have some of those in play as well. We did a lot of testing last year. That could be like a lot of fun to like buy Steph Curry 30+ points at the start of the game, and he has 2 3-pointers to start off the game, and you can sell out for a profit.
Yeah, that would be great. Again, I was at the Knicks game last night, and I love taking the milestones on FanDuel. I know a lot of people do. And it was one of these where I took Dante DiVincenzo to score 5 3-pointers, and he had it in the first half. I mean, he went crazy. He had a career high 9. So it would have been fun to see that, start just moving really quickly early in the game. Would have been a blast. And it's exciting to have another book with these prices, because I know a lot of people are taking these on FanDuel. They seem to have the best price in the market most days on the milestones. So I'm excited for you guys to have the numbers out there. It'll be nice to have a lot of options to compare to.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And then maybe we do something next week we did this last week for getting folks together on props, where you could look at a prop like any one of these props have a pretty wide market. So if I were to look at like, maybe it's Patrick Mahomes passing touchdowns, and you think he's going to go for over 2.5. This may not even be quoted right now. Oh, no, the market, you have to give it a second to come back in. And the market might be like, $5 wide, $6 wide, or our market maker could just pull this as we're looking at the live stream. The nice thing about doing that in the live stream is like, okay, there we go, 21.5 and 26. Maybe in the live stream, we can get someone to offer 24, and that plus 279 turns into plus 315. And you're like, well, I hated it at plus 280. I love it at plus 320. So yeah, that's the sort of idea. Maybe we can do something like that. Maybe like next Friday, right when the Super Bowl is really top of mind for folks.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely talk about that. I'd love to do basketball as well. I'm a gigantic Knicks fan, so
nice.
Any Knicks related, I mean, it's literally my hat.
Nice.
Any basketball related stuff, I love to talk about the NBA. So that'll be fun.
Very cool, man. Well, best of luck for the golf tournament. I know it's going to be like a pretty wild weather day, and it's always one of those my favorite events to watch is that AT&T Pebble Beach. It used to be there's a book about this called The Match, but a lot of Hollywood stars fell in love with the game of golf and actually brought like a lot of amateurs out to play what was called the clam bake in the 50s. And the clam bake was was preempted like the pro-am, and the idea was, why don't we get these Hollywood stars to go and play with, the PGA Tour pros? And now it's like a tradition that like it is the pro-am. Like I, as a golfer, like bucket list thing, it'll never happen, but bucket list thing to go and play Pebble Beach. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
And you're paired with like, I won the money. You're paired with Colin Morikawa today. You'd be on Data Golf going like, so Colin, what do you think? Do you have a more or less than a 36% chance to beat Russell Henley this week?
And they'll stare at you like, you're a crazy person. But
yeah, golfers are gamblers. He'd say,
that is
let's
true.
go for it.
That is true.
Yeah. Cool, man. I hope you have a really great night. And on behalf of everyone, saying goodnight to the puppy.
Thank you. Say goodnight. She's
Good night, everyone.
so shot.
I love that. See ya.